Yeah, it's a great response to Mirana Mars. You've got the Aphotic Shield to save any of your cores who are caught out, so you've got that immediate Dispel on hand from the Chain Stun. You do have a dual melee support, so that could make it a bit tough, especially into the arena. The Mars can just kind of hold back and drop the arena, isolate the supports, and cut off the Gyrocopter and Storm Spirit. That could be an issue down the line. Maybe if you get something that can abuse that, let's say Phoenix could kind of work once more for OB.Neon. They did play against the Phoenix last time with a Gyrocopter in their end, so they could give that a shot. They've got the Mars arena to set up, but they don't really have room for it. Like, again, unless they run Shadow Demon mid.
They're not running Shadow
Yeah.
Demon mid, John.
Look, you say it's silly, but it's Dota 2. Anything can work. I've seen Disruptor mids in certain games. I've seen the Spirit Breaker mid. We've seen Shakiro mid before. We've seen Skyrath Mage mid. So anything can work, Mike. It's Dota 2. It's not gonna. I'm not saying it could happen here.
Well, you
I'm
are.
just saying it's a possibility.
That's exactly what you're saying, though. You are saying it's potentially going to happen here, and it's not now because we do have a TA pickup, and I know Makoto is going to take the TA because he's a great TA player. Well, we'll give that over to Makoto now. I'm afraid he'll have to put the core Shadow Demon aside this game around. And that does mean it's probably going to be an offlane Mars. So yeah,
Yep.
the draft is starting to really start to show itself here for OB.Neon.
Yeah, I mean, Mars Mirana lane is still really strong. Spear Arrow combination, again, it's just that Abaddon counteracts it. Now, if you catch the Abaddon out, then he can't really counteract it because he can't dispel himself when he's chain stunned up. So you could look for that easy kill on the Abaddon instead of aiming down the Gyrocopter. I think the dual lane of Abaddon Gyro is pretty solid, though. Like, if the Abaddon does put his body forward, get the Aphotic Shield and the Curse of Avernus up. By level 3, Abaddon's tanky enough to cop through some of those hits. Gyrocopter can follow through the homing missile and the flat cannon hits, or the rocket barrage, depending on the build up there. And you can be aggressive, so you can look for those opportunities on Polaris' end, just by nature of how Gyrocopter is, depending on the lane build. I do see Polaris banning out the Face's Void. It's just taking care of some hard hold to keep the Storm Spirit and Gyrocopter locked into place. They also take out the Medusa. These are fairly greedy pos once Polaris is banning out. So I don't know if that would really line up with OB.Neon. Then again, we have seen Templar Assassin with greedy pos once still pay off. I guess they just don't want to deal with that ultra late game scaling that these two cores do give. OB.Neon, for their part, taking care of banning out some TA answers, Batrider gone, just to ensure that you won't get run down on your safe lane as well. If you do manage to get that, Batrider still lane dominant despite all the nerfs it constantly gets, and despite not having Fey Grenade burn anymore. It's such a massive loss to our game.
It wasn't it, that Fey Grenade? I never even got to experience it myself. I said I was going to play Batrider after we realized how much damage it did, but never did it, John. Polaris Esports, final pickup. 6 seconds of reserve time left to make this decision if they want to dive into that. Still lacking what appears to be the off lane. You don't know what the safe lane of OB.Neon is yet. They're going to go down the Darkseer round. So this hero hasn't been quite as popular as it was the last patch around. I still think the hero does a very similar thing, but people seem to have moved away from the Ags build from what I've been seeing, and they seem to go more into a utility style, say, stamina kind of build. Like, we've been seeing a lot of Guardian Greaves. Sometimes they go into Crimson Guards, Pipes, but not so much the Ags anymore, which is, I always found quite strange because the Ags still seems pretty busted.
Yeah, it still is. Especially in conjunction with an Abaddon, right? Like, so the added HP plus the Aphotic Shield makes for a very standard combination coming through from Polaris. OB.Neon going into a very safe pause 1, going into the Jug for Unknown, so not too greedy in the pause 1, doesn't need too much time to farm up. There's a lot of ways you can build up as well. Should be usually the Maelstrom build going forward, but some cases you can make a case for Mask of Madness, although for the most part those are very niche cases. So we'll have to see how it holds against the Darkseer. At the very least, you'll have the spin to give yourself magic immunity from the Iron Child spam Nico will want to put out, but already looking like a pretty spicy set of drafts from both sides. I would lean towards Polaris just a bit more in this draft before you ask, because I think the Storm Spirit's going to have a pretty good time zipping around. By the time he hits level 6, And going forward, your control on Neon's side is really just Disruption Spear, Disruption Arrow, Spear Arrow. Not the most reliable.
Yeah.
So if the Storm is quick enough, he's going to be able to dodge out, and you are relying heavily on Johnnyuel's setup to kind of lock in Mac there.
Absolutely. With that, by the way, John, again, our lovely C admin has provided us with some information. Did tag you, but I'm going to go ahead and read it out because I'm a bit cheeky here, John. So if OB.Neon get a 2-0 victory in this series, they will be sixth seed. You know what? Why don't you read it out, John? Apparently I just can't read. Go on. I guess you're the analyst for a reason. You're just better at reading. Go on. Do it.
If Neon 2-0, they get 6th seed, facing Polaris once again in that lower bracket. If Neon go 1-1, they become 8th seed, facing off against Motivate Trust. So Motivate Trust is a very tough opponent, as we all know, and I think OB.Neon will aim for that 2-0 to... You know, if they get 2-0 here, that means they already beat Polaris 2-0, right? So going into playoffs, having that matchup where you know you've already beat them before, puts you in a really good mindset. And that should be the goal of OB.Neon. We'll see if Polaris can put the spanner in the works, force them to play against the Motivated Trust boys in the end. Going to be important to, again, get that good start in the lower bracket. You only have one shot there. If you face off against a stronger team, you could just be eliminated day one.
Absolutely. See if they can pull off the 2-0 victory here and get the preferred matchup, you'd have to argue. 1-1, though, you've got a date with Motivate Trust. If you are OB.Neon. See how it all pans out. I mean, I do love the draft, though, of OB.Neon here. Like, they've got the Makoto TA, something he's quite famous for. I think the Jug on Unknown, I don't really see many counters towards it right now. Like, the laning stage might be a little bit annoying against the Darkseer, Nyx Assassin, but overall, I think he will remain quite safe and healthy with the Abaddon support. And into the later game, you're going to have the Omni, you're going to have the Swift Slash. Against the Gyrocopter, yeah, he can do a lot of damage, and he might have a hell of a lot of sustain with the Satanic up later on. But the Jug, I'd say, should still have a decent enough advantage.
My one thing with the Jug matchup against Gyrocopter is the uptime of the Jug towards the late game. So the Juggernaut relies heavily on Omni Slash and the Swift Slash for the Ags. And for the Gyrocopter, he doesn't really rely on much. Flat Cannon, that's it. They're going to cut the creep wave and start clearing it out. Johnnyuel is around to cut off Boomy and Nico, but that creep wave is gone. So easy farm coming out for Nico and Boomy already. One creep sliding through, not bad, but Boomy looks dead.
Yeah, Boomy is dead, John. First blood, gonna go the way of Genuel's. Well, I don't know if Genuel needed to take it off Unknown, and I guess you may as well take the first blood away on the Shadow Demon. And yeah, I mean, they still got that first creep wave, and they do deny a few creeps away from Unknown, but, you know, giving the bonus gold away to the side of OB.Neon, never really going to be a preference if you're at the side of Polaris.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good pickup for OB.Neon. Early first blood for Johnnyuel means that he can just pop in more regen lane to spam out spells. He is building up the stacks of Nico. They do manage to find that kill on CML bot though. The spear, well, not even a spear arrow, just the God's Rebuke and the arrow landing through is enough damage to clear that out, and that is something the Abaddon has to watch for in early levels. You don't really deal with this duo all too well, but his goal in this lane is to just put his body forward so Natsumi can just farm up in the back.
Certainly so. The CML ends up dropping down to the bot lane to boot. Xiao Yu off to a good start on the Mars. Mid lane, of course, Makoto and Mac going to be at it. So far, Mac having a really nice time, though. I mean, the same kind of rule applies to the TA. It's like, you can have a bad time all you want in the laning phase, but you always go back to the side camps and you just farm those up. Makoto's going to find out the hard way that that side camp is blocked off. So he will have to get a sentry out to try and deward that ASAP. And it looks like Polaris already just kind of focusing in on making sure that Makoto does not have a good time this game, too. As you can see, Mac really just harassing the hell out of Makoto, making it very hard for him to get a decent advantage in this mid lane.
Yeah, it's a good start for the Storm. Does set a good tempo for Polaris from mid, and that's the one concern OB.Neon has. Like, their control for the Storm's not very reliable outside of disruption setup. Even that can be a bit nebulous depending on the angle. So giving Mac this kind of really fast start Might cost him, and we'll see how much more Mac can get. Very comfy CS lead so far, and he is applying a lot of aggression on top of it. The side of OB.Neon, though, sitting pretty with those 2 kills, less than 1k net worth lead. Unknown is still holding his lane well, despite laning against a Darkseer. Level 3 is up on Nico, so level 2 Iron Shell is up, but Unknown can always kind of fight back with a Blade Fury, so he's not under threat every single time.
Well, there you go, though. Earth Spike is rather... The stun is there from Boomy. Spin will be forced out, and the thing is, if you do land the Impel from Boomy, the amount of damage that Unknown is going to have to take is going to be rather high. Nico still looking to get aggressive with this level 2 Iron Shell. Does now move into Unknown. Will leave them be, and instead they'll move on to Januel. The Shadow Demon. It's going to back off. Just be fine in the end. So Nico will still be able to farm up just perfectly fine here on the Darkseer. Not really much to slow him down. I suppose they really want to just shut down Unknown as best they possibly can, but Unknown, he's also farming very well right now on this jug.
Yeah. It's like, despite his creep wave being constantly cut off, not having any issues CSing at all, and in that downtime, Januel can just focus on building up massive amounts of stacks in the jungle. One of the key things for the Shadow Demon, as mentioned, very easy to build up stacks, and that's something that Polaris should look to abuse. They could clear them out with the Gyrocopter, with the Iron Shells on Nico. If Januel's not careful, Nico can get a huge gold injection once he has more levels on the Iron Shell.
Yeah. Boomy. Spin is going to be there. Impel won't affect him through the spin, and it looks like he might... No, he's not. Surge is out, Nico. We'll make sure the Nyx Assassin is going to get out scot-free. OB.Neon still unsuccessful in trying to find another kill at that top lane. Again, though, I think as long as the Jug's farming, you're more than happy. And Makoto, he's doing decently well himself now in that mid lane. Only 1 CS behind the Storm. Has been able to start to really catch up, and again, we'll always have the jungle to kind of go back to if he needs to. Mac, though, is also having a very good time. So it's kind of the dream start for a Storm, but I've got to say, John, I don't know if I agree with the Soul Ring build-up on Mac. It's not really something you get to see too often on a mid-Storm Spirit.
I think it's just down to Mac wanting to be more aggressive with his spell use. We have seen him willingly put his body forward to drop those static remnants to get the overload hits. This could also help him in jungle, just putting a little bit of less reliance on the bottle top-up, gives him more uptime to clear out camps, and build further from there. It's definitely non-standard, but I can see some value in it, in at least staving off this early game, and could lead to him just spamming the static remnants and overloads with ball lightning on, say, the stacks up top if they do manage to get that rotation out. Lines are already drawn. Nico has got a rough idea as to the state of that jungle. So Polaris should look to shut that out before Mikoto can work in there, as he is the likely recipient of all of that gold.
We have another pause out, though. OB.Neon. That's just Makoto needing a second now. Xiao Yu down at that bot lane. Been doing a pretty darn good job at keeping Natsumi a bit lower than, say, Unknown on the jug. I say that he is only 2 CS behind Unknown right now, but again, Natsumi's got multiple cores to be a bit wary of, because you've got to consider the TA can just take over as a POS 1 itself if you're not too careful. I suppose against the Mars, it is a bit of a hard task to try and secure as much CS as you can, because he does tend to deny a lot and just kind of push you away with the spear, force those kind of errors. For now, Natsumi, though, still just safe is, I think, the more important aspect here for the Gyrocopter, just remaining alive.
Yeah, they haven't been able to posture around with the spear arrow. Hustler's just been working across the map, getting some free experience on mid as Mikado has dipped into the jungle. They are clearing out their stacks early, but the flash farm is beginning, although Boomy will cut them off.
Yeah, Mac is in, Vortex is out. They want the damage, but Disruption is going to save as now Makoto moves in. That big arrow landed on Boomy. They might still find a trade, and they do. In fact, Mac, he's running very low on mana. He'll try to zip away, does get his courier gone. Nico, he's going to move in as well. Make sure he zoned them out, but now the Omni Slash. will come through from unknown. He makes his way over from the dire jungle. And it does pay off because he gets a free kill onto that offlane Darkseer. He can just go right back to that top lane now.
Yeah, and they hold on to the stacks. They didn't lose any of those camps to the side of Polaris. So Mikato still gets the gold injection. They do find a kill on Natsumi down bot as well. So looking good for OB.Neon to start with. Nice level 6 spike for Xiaoyu, finding the solo pickoff. And for Polaris, not good news. I think just this flash farm on Mikato leading into his early items, early build-up, catching up. Number 1 in that worth now. Not a huge margin so far with only a 2k lead on OB.Neon. And for Polaris, they need to start stacking up their own triangle. Build up for the Storm, build up for the Gyrocopter to start getting some flash farm in, and for them to hit their own item timings down the line.
Smoke up. Natsumi and CML now going to make a bit of a rotation into that dire jungle. Seems to be that they know the stacks are being taken now. Mikoto already getting through most of it, but Natsumi now with the flat cannon going to try and sneak some away as now the Storm Spirit zips in. Mac trying to go after Mikoto. Call down is there. Impel did not connect, but it won't matter. They still managed to secure the kill. There's a lot of Ancients to be taken. And Natsumi, maybe just not confident enough to take him at the moment, is going to leave them be. They already kind of interrupted the large camp being taken. CML, however, going to be left behind. Zhao Yu, he's going to take the free kill. Or, no, they will.
Yeah, nice pickup coming out. Does end up going to Hustler, not the biggest deal. And even though they lose some of the large cap, I think as long as the Ancients are here, you're still pretty happy. Losing Mikado is a huge blow, though. That will slow down the pace of the TA just a bit, but Natsumi.
He gets caught out. Arena down. Natsumi still hanging around that bot lane. Not expecting the big rotation in from OB.Neon. There's now Mac. Going to try and go on to Jinuel. Does get him. Still a very favorable trade for OB.Neon. And Polaris, they get something, but it's definitely not worth their time.
Yeah, it's not the trade they're looking for. And OB.Neon just manages to force the rotations out, so Mac has to show down bot to find a kill. He can't just sit in the jungle and farm up, can't just sit in the lane, get some CS going. While OB.Neon makes that happen bot, of course, it's more space for Unknown to play in that top jungle. Our Juggernaut is going to hit that Maelstrom timing fairly soon. And Mikado is starting on the Ancient stacks. Massive amount of gold. He is just set to go on that TA. Dragonlance going to be up after that camp for sure. And it's just a build up into either the Blink or Desolator, depending on how Mikado feels like he should play. But you are hitting those spikes on those two cores of OB.Neon. The side of Polaris, starting to lag behind a bit. Like, Natsumi's the bottom core right now, behind his own Darkseer, behind his Storm Spirit, and he needs some space to farm up. He needs his triangle stacked up. It is empty right now. No Ancient camps built up. And even if they do, there's a nice sentry to block it off. Boomy will take care of that now, though, but still slow going here for Polaris.
Oh, it absolutely is. Over on the side, CML going to drop to Mikoto. Mac trying to pick off Januel, but Banish is going to be there into the arrow setup of Hustler. Mac still going to try to get this kill, and does actually get away with it. The arrow, the stun duration just wasn't long enough. Mac able to take the kill. Might even find a very nice arcane rune for himself as Boomy's going to block off Mikoto. Trap pop, but it's not going to matter. Hustler, they might be able to get Boomy. He's going to try for an arrow, but Mac, a nice juke out on the staircase. Still trying to fight, but maybe it's too much. With the arcane rune, he is still able to zip out and does make it out. In the end, I suppose for Mikoto, he doesn't get the bottle refill, but he does get a kill onto the Nyx Assassin. So not all too bad.
He's still feeling really great on that TA. 6k gold on hand. And the Desolator's not too far off. They get the push down bot as well. Boomy does have a 6, but Chao Yu's level 9. He's a bit tanky to try and burst down. Just a bit too late for that defense.
Boomy. Vendetta strike out, does find Zhao Yu, and Mac gonna happily claim the kill for himself here on the Storm. Mega kill spree now for him as he does find his 5th of the game. We'll just keep cleaning up, but the problem is OB.Neon, they've got a 4k net worth advantage, so mean, the kills are nice and all, but the net worth is still just going in the favor of OB.Neon, and you still have a gyrocopter. You still kind of want to have that net worth advantage going your way, but that just isn't the case right now with Natsumi. Hell, he's only got the Dragonlance going for him at the moment. It's very far behind in terms of farm.
Yeah, he only just manages to overtake his own Darkseer at this point. So the jungle farm is starting to pay off just a bit, but OB.Neon, they're looking to be aggressive now. Xiaoyu has the blink up, they've smoked up. They could get an easy arena spear setup here if they do manage to catch someone off guard.
Nico, Boomy, show up, Trap will give the vision, Xiaoyu, he's in with the arena. Arrow's gonna be there and they've got him. Nico just gets bursted down so quick. As CML, he tried to TP in and help out, but there's not really much he could have done. They're into that mid-tier 1 tower now. And it should be a very free tower to take.
Yeah, not much coming through from Polaris to help hold against this. They're just trying to use this space to get farm on their gyrocopter up top. This does open up the map in a big way for OB.Neon. They can start to invade the triangle area a bit more. They can drop some more aggressive wards. And with the bot tier 1 gone as well, the bot jungle is a bit more open. Boomy though, trying to scout around, but he's under a sentry now.
That he is. They're going to notice him. Trap is going to be popped. They have the dust. Spear is there. Sentry is out. And the arrow, it's not even going to matter. God's Rebuke is enough from Xiaoyu. A 5k net worth advantage now. Keep in mind this whole time Makoto is just freely farming on the TA. He is way further ahead than his Jug. There's Natsumi very, very deep at the top lane. He's going to get the tier 1 tower, but it's going to cost him his life as Xiaoyu. He's all over the place right now, and he'll gift another kill the way of Makoto. His tips are flying out from Januel.
Yeah, they managed to get the big kill. That was trying to get some space out. The gyro is still not at the point where you can confidently say it has an item advantage. It's still lagging behind. It still needs more to pick up the pace here. Polaris 5k deficit right now at 13 minutes in. A huge gap that OB.Neon's abusing. Disruption out. Arrow. Oh, blocked.
Gonna land. Completely blocked. As now Mac just gonna zip right through onto Genuel. Gets himself a free kill, but Makoto gonna try and trade. CML. No borrowed time is there. Mac though, very low on mana now. He's gonna try and run. Makoto still on the chase. And we'll leave them be as Xiaoyu now has the blink up. Smoke broken. Gonna find CML. May just suffice. And it will. Without the borrowed time, he has no way to survive. Towards the other side, unknown. A homing missile is gonna fly in. Boomy is there, but won't be bothered to go for it. So he notices his teammates moving in to help unknown out. And in fact, now they might turn on them. They know Natsumi's around there somewhere.
No reason to force the fight, though. I think right now, OB.Neon... Oh.
Genuel, he gets zipped on. Mac, he's a bit off the mark. Hustler has the Yules up into the arrow, and now the Purge out. Mac still got plenty of mana to try and make his way out, but he is a very, very slow target as now Xiaoyu won't land the spear, but does drain the rest of the mana of Mac as unknown. He finds Boomy, the Storm, trying to bottle up as fast as he possibly can, and does make it out once again. They still end up finding Boomy there on the Nyx Assassin. And the net worth lead just keeps increasing the way of OB.Neon. Because again, this whole time, Makoto's freely farming up on that TA.
Yep. Deso up, double damage up, straight into the Roshan. No real contestation from Polaris. They did have vision though, so they saw that move into Roche. They could try for a zip play coming through from Mac. Need to go quick, because this Roche doesn't last long with the damage output.
Arena down, but it's going to be a bit of a zoning arena there from Xiaoyu. If he wanted to catch somebody but doesn't quite get them, it won't matter though. They still got what they really came for, which is going to be the Aegis to the Immortal, and now they found the Abaddon. But they'll leave him be. So he does have the borrowed time back up. I mean, instead, you've got Makoto, Deso up, Dragonlance up, BKB to be worked on, and a blink after that. And that's around the timing where Makoto's going to be more than happy to just start grouping up with his team and get aggressive on this TA. Unknown, however, maybe caught on this Jug. Boomy, no, the spin's there. He went for the Vendetta strike, and Unknown, he seemed to know something was wrong. Very quick reactions from our Jug.
I don't think you can afford to get the Vendetta hit off first. You really do need to start with a stun, and
Yeah. I think Mac and Natsumi agree with you, John.
it's a jug, and if you don't immediately stun him, he's gonna spin away. He even has the pig pole, so he's a spinning pig, which is always hilarious to watch. OB.Neon, 7k lead now, 16.5 minutes in. Polaris just not quite finding the timings they want. Still lagging behind Mikado, still lagging behind Unknown's jug. Their gyrocopter is still gearing up slowly but steadily, but it's just not an item advantage. And the hero really does want to play ahead. So we'll see how much more is needed. Oh, Mikado.
Be a massive pickoff, but yeah, they missed everything. And he's going to haste through it anyway. So unless they land that stun, Makoto's just not going to get caught. Even brings the blink out now. Decides to skip the BKB at the moment. The tier 2 tower going to be free and easy pickings for OB.Neon. TP's to come in. Boomy, he's going to try and set up, but he's very low on mana right now, and he's been spotted out. Does return the Meld Strike back the way of Makoto. It's still looking like a pretty tough fight to try and force here for Polaris. They might still give it a crack, but Xiao Yu, he lands a very nice spear out. Arrow to fly through, but it does not land. Instead, Mac gonna vortex in Makoto, and they've got one. One life down. Natsumi now with the Aghanims up, might be able to keep this fight up as Unknown trying to spin, but Makoto is falling way too low. He's still going to run out of there. The arena's going to protect the Xiao Yu. Now makes the same run away. Mac about to drop, but does survive as now Januel needs to find his own way out. Makoto, he tried for the TP, but they do find the Vortex. Januel, he's going to die to the side gunner of Natsumi. So in the end, the fight does work out in the favor of Polaris. Kind of 3-0. They do manage to protect that tier 2 bottom tower.
It's a bit greedy for Mikado. He already blinked out. He blinked back in to try to kill off Mac, but Mac still had mana. So he just zipped away, and because of that, they knew where he was hiding in the tree line. They managed to get the punishment, and all of a sudden, the Aegis advantage is gone for OB.Neon. They lose a lot of big cores. That does give some catching up here on Polaris, as Natsumi is now number 2 in net worth. Barely, just about 800, maybe 1,000 gold behind the TA, which is still not ideal, but you are hitting some good spikes now on Natsumi. Saving up for the BKB next, likely Satanic afterwards. Boomy still scouting around for Unknown. There's the stun.
Yeah, this time they won't mess it up. Stun out immediately, but do they have the damage? Moonlight Shadow's there, Unknown. He's going to be able to spin and Mac. He doesn't have enough mana to chase him down for the final right click, so Unknown. He gets away just barely. Polaris, there's just nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. If they managed to kill off Unknown, that would have set up Mac to start to build up more. He's been on the back foot here on the Storm. Now he's the bottom net worth core in the entire map, which is really not a position you want your Storm to be in. Wants to find some key pickoffs with that Orchid, but the Jug is just proving to be a bit too tanky with that Falcon Blade. Just that added HP, that item was buffed as well in the last patch to give a little bit more HP and a little bit more damage. Just enough. Like that's where the difference came out for Unknown. Just having the value Falcon Blade and that HP on hand.
Tribute to my house.
Still a bit of an uphill climb here for Polaris's. I mean, Natsumi's still farming very well now, catching up to Makoto. OB.Neon gonna move in. Mac gonna be around to scout them out. Makoto will take a nice little invis rune for himself, but still is a ways away from having the BKB up. They do smoke up though, but Boomy's gonna be the one to break the smoke. He will try for a TP out. Does get speared back by Xiao Yu. I don't think it's quite the target that OB.Neon really wanted, but you just kind of take what you can get.
Yeah, it's a pick-off. It's something to build in there for Xiao Yu, trying to save up for that Heaven's Halberd. And once you have that disarm, you can kind of handle the gyrocopter to an extent. Hold off from the damage output. He does want to pump out with the flak, so it's going to be important for him to find that item, and every single kill kind of adds into that. The side of OB.Neon, they still hold on to that 5k lead. It's just not as big on the course anymore. The gap between Mikado and Natsumi is shrank. Unknown is behind the gyrocopter now. Xiao Yu's lagging behind. Mac is starting to catch up a bit more. So there is still a lot of room for Polaris to still play around here. And OB.Neon just needs to wait for some key items. They need that BKB you mentioned on the TA. Just have the patience to get Mikato up with a spell immunity first, and you can look to play afterwards. That should coincide with Roshan timing as well, though maybe a bit earlier on that BKB, but they will Moonlight up to at least save a couple of the heroes down bot.
Bot lane. Unknown. I mean, there was a bit of a rotation over, but he's going to be just fine. Polaris not quite able to make the jump in. Natsumi still working towards his own BKB now on the gyrocopter, so have plenty of time to have that up very, very soon.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And you can see, like, OB.Neon, they definitely seem like they want to try and force another fight. Bit antsy right now between the players. As bot lane, Unknown. It's that classic spot in the dead lane that carries tend to get caught in. There was a bit of patience there from Polaris. They were waiting quite a while for Unknown to show his face, but in the end, it does end up paying off for them.
Yep, they get the big kill to kind of lock in that jug, and now Unknown from that death is severely behind Natsumi, behind even Nico on that Darkseer. They've got the Ags running as well on the Darkseer, so double Iron Shell with the charges, added HP on that use. Harder to burst down some of these heroes up front. OB.Neon will smoke up though. They've got a big target up top. If they can catch out Natsumi, it could be a pretty nice way to turn things around here.
And they may just. I mean, he's got CML behind, but still the move in. They are going to go after CML first while Zhao Yu tries to make the jump in on Natsumi. BKB is there to save, as now the zip in. Mac going to try and save him out as well, and they do find Genuel. CML's going to drop on the Abaddon. So a 1-for-1 so far. There's another zip in. Mac running a little bit low on mana, but he'll go back after Hustler on the Mirana. Buybacks to come out from both supports now, but nobody else is really tied yet. OB.Neon, they'll keep trying to chase them down. Arrow barely going to whiff onto Boomy. Omni Slash now committed. Natsumi, he needs someone to tank the damage. Unknown, he'll go for the spin out, and they do find the gyrocopter in the end. In fact, they even found Boomy. CMO dropped to boot. Arrow there. They'll find another. The only survivor is going to be Mac on the Storm. Yeah, very successful team fight for OB.Neon.
It looked a bit awkward to start off, but they do manage to get the big kills. They swing the net worth back to their side, 6k, and Mac is just kind of going to be forced to keep the farm game up while the rest of his team respawns. Big opening for OB.Neon. They take control of the triangle. They can start dropping a few more wards. Roche respawn in 40 seconds. And they've got the BKB up on Mikado. So that last fight, he didn't even have his BKB up yet. He's going to be more protected up front to get the damage off. Not going to care for the control. Not going to care for the magic damage coming through from Mac. And it could lead to some issues for Polaris. Like their physical output with the gyrocopter is not quite there yet.
Oh,
Mac.
Zhao Yu's got the Moonlight Shadow, but Mac seems to know. They are around. They're hunting him down, and immediately just goes for the zip TP play. Just too valuable of a life to lose here for Polaris at the moment with the way this game's been going. If there's anyone you really don't want to lose right now, it's probably Mac. He has that free kind of zip away. Mid lane, Unknown, and Genuel. He's stalked him by Boomy, but he does run underneath the sentry ward, and the arrow will land to set up onto the Nyx Assassin, and Unknown looks to clean up, but a big back wall is out. They still find the Nyx Assassin, but Mac is at least onto Genuel, but he can't force the dieback. In fact, now he's out of mana. Arena's going to drop. Mac, he needs some help right now, but it's just not coming in. He is stuck, and he will drop to Zhao Yu. As they look for more, Makoto, he'll chase down CML. They'll have a third. And to make matters worse for Polaris, Roshan is up.
Yeah, it's a great timing for OB.Neon. Not going to take too long to clear out the second Roche. Free Ag Shard coming through. Could be big if they want to silence in Mikato. Could be big if they want that added damage coming through on the spin of Unknown. We'll see who they do give it over, but no counterplay coming through from Polaris. They already expended that. We don't have the Storm. So a nice win coming out for OB.Neon. As, what did they drop? Oh, they gave the Ag Shard to Unknown. So, added utility on the Blade Fury, more move speed, good damage coming through. You have issues here for Polaris. 10k lead for OB.Neon. They're doing fantastic in getting their hold out. We talked about the control issue earlier on. Oh, Max.
Zip in who they got. For now, Genuel's going to be just fine. Mac, he's still trying, but he's going to be very wary. His mana pool again dropping very, very low. He'll get the SD kill, but is it worth Mac? He'll get back to the high ground, but Makoto's waiting for him right at the top of the cliff, and Mac's gone. CML, he'll get an arrow to the backside. Spear out as well from Xiao Yu. That'll be another.
Yeah, Xiao Yu is just pump faking his spells, threatening to steal that kill away from Mikado, but he does hand it off as a good offlaner would. Tier 2 gone, high ground opens up. They do have the vac wall here on Polaris if they want to force a fight, but the respawn under Storm is just way too long. The objectives aren't going to last a full half minute, so they're going to have to force the fortify, see if they can stall out even further, but Unknown's in a very good position along with Mikado to just clear out at least one set of racks. They can't go for more. Tier 2 still stand top and bot. Still a massive start for OB.Neon already.
Oh, arrow lands in the backside on Natsumi, so now you've definitely got no chance, although Vacuum is there with the wall down. Xiao Yu still going to drop the arena and goes for the spear out. It's a lot of damage bouncing around between those walls, but it's just not going to matter in the end because nobody dies. But OB.Neon, they get out scot-free. Just one rack's taken.
That was really quick reflexes on Mikado. The moment the vac came in, he just immediately blinked out. He avoided the impale stun. He avoided most of the wall coming through, and they just make it work. They don't manage to find a full set of racks, but just with melee racks gone, the mid-wave will naturally shove in a bit more, so there's going to have to be a response from Polaris every single time. And you still have to be cautious as you're still behind. That arrow was chasing Mac till the end there.
That it was, John. That it was. OB.Neon going to continue being very aggressive here as it's a 14k net worth advantage. Move down to that bot tier 2 tower. Meanwhile, Boomy gonna just sneak in, get the vision. Xiao Yu misses out on the spear. Mac, he'll go back in on the Mars. They get another nice vacuum out, but nobody's dying quite yet. However, Natsumi getting the damage out now. And Unknown's gonna give the healing ward over. Heal everyone back up. Boomy, he'll cop. No, he won't actually take the arrow, but it won't matter because he's just going to die to the damage output of Makoto on this TA, and now the Omni will bounce right through Mac and Natsumi. He'll try to BKB TP out, but I can't say the same for our Storm Mac. He's gone again without buyback. CML, he'll be left behind. Third kill once again for OB.Neon. And it's back into that mid lane. Looking like a very, very dominant game now for OB, as they might just go for tier 4s.
Yep, they don't actually have any of the side tier 2s gone, so this is the only objective they can go for on the high ground. It still melts so fast with that Desolator up. No buyback on Mac. They're going to have to force the buyback on Nyx. They still have the wall to play with.
And back wall is good. Spin is there as well. Unknown just going to stay protected as now the spear is out. Natsumi, he's been perma-stunned. Oh, they got the gyrocopter. They're onto the Ancient. Nothing to really slow them down. Disruption there from Xiao Yu. Nico. All he can do is buy some time for Mac to respawn up, but it's going to cost his own life. He'll get it. Onto the Ancient. Natsumi's just DC'd on us. Well, not sure about that one, but it looks like they're going to call the GG. Someone apparently not very happy on the side of Polaris.
Yep. And OB.Neon with the 2-0, playing really clean in both games. Well, a bit cleaner in Game 2. Game 1 was a bit more even with Polaris. That does mean they are 6th seed. That does mean going into the lower bracket playoffs here is that they will play up against Polaris once more. Since they did get that 2-0, that should fill them with confidence going up against Polaris once more. A great way to end the groups there for OB.Neon. Polaris, they're not out, but they will have to face off against Neon once more instead of maybe theoretically an easier opponent on hand. So we'll have to see if they can hold up the second time, learn some lessons from this series. You know, just kind of giving away, say, the Mikado TA wasn't quite ideal. They went for a gyrocopter that didn't really manage to get as much as you'd expect. Like the solo lane for Xiao Yu actually worked out really well. Finding that solo kill on Gyro is just not something you really expect out of that. Like, you have a range advantage, you can sit back, he still got caught by the arena, and the execution of Neon was on point. So props to them for closing out the groups on a positive note. Polaris will have to look into the playoffs, and again, their first opponent will be OB.Neon, so they're going to have to learn a lot from this last series to hang on in the playoffs there.
Absolutely. Look, it's going to be a very interesting playoffs, and looking forward to coming back and casting them later on. Of course, for now, me and John are going to take a bit of a break. We'll be back in a few days to cast some more playoff Dota. But till then, it is MLP Dota and johnxfire, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll see you once again very soon for some more great SCA Dota. See you then.